Have you ever walked into a room feeling great and left feeling completely drained without knowing why? Why does one person's bad mood have the power to ruin your entire day? And more importantly, is it possible to protect your inner peace without saying a single word? These are questions many of us never ask, but should, because the truth is, negativity is contagious. And yet, Buddhism offers us a way to become immune, not by fighting back, not by withdrawing, but by going inward. Imagine this. You're having a good morning. Maybe you're looking forward to something. Your heart feels light. Then, suddenly, someone walks in. Maybe it's a coworker who's always complaining, or a family member who never seems satisfied. Maybe it's a stranger at the store with a heavy aura. No matter who it is, their presence hits you like a dark cloud, and before you realize it, your smile fades. Your shoulders tense. The peace you carried starts slipping away. Why does this happen so easily? Why does someone else's energy seem to have power over ours? The answer lies in how deeply connected we are. Our minds are like tuning forks. They resonate with the frequencies around them. When exposed to stress, anger, or judgment, we begin to absorb that energy, unless we're aware. But here's the good news. Buddhism shows us that we can respond differently. We don't have to be pulled into someone else's storm. We don't need to argue, explain ourselves, or even speak. We can protect our peace in silence through compassion, presence, and inner strength. The world isn't free of negative people, and it never will be. Like the wind or the rain, they exist as part of life. We can't stop them, but we can stop ourselves from reacting. Instead of getting dragged into their emotions, we can become still, like a deep lake untouched by a passing breeze. These aren't just abstract ideas. Buddhist monks and practitioners have used these simple yet powerful methods for generations, living in the same messy world we do, but responding to it from a place of calm. And so can you. In this video, we'll uncover how to shift your perspective, regain control of your emotional state, and develop the kind of quiet confidence that no storm can shake. You'll learn why negativity feels so heavy and how to become light again. We've just seen how negativity is often a reflection of someone's inner suffering, not an attack on us. Now, let's take the next step on this journey toward lasting peace. If you're ready, let's begin together. We're about to explore timeless Buddhist wisdom, teachings that have guided millions across centuries to remain calm and compassionate, even in the middle of chaos. This isn't just philosophy. It's a way of seeing the world differently. And it all starts with understanding the root of negativity from a deeper, more compassionate perspective. Understanding the nature of suffering, a Buddhist view. To truly disarm negativity, without speaking, without reacting, we must first understand where it really comes from. In Buddhism, negativity doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's not random, and it's not without cause. It has a very clear origin: suffering. The Buddha taught that all human beings experience a universal discomfort known as dukkha. This word has many shades of meaning: suffering, dissatisfaction, unease. But at its core, it describes the restlessness we all feel inside at times. That quiet, persistent sense that something is missing or not quite right. No one escapes this. Not the friend who constantly complains, not the family member who always criticizes, not the stranger who snaps at you in line. These people aren't simply negative, they're hurting. Deep down, They're struggling with their own unresolved pain, and often they don't know how to deal with it. They don't have the tools to transform it. So it spills out through harsh words, critical remarks, or angry outbursts. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, when you've been hurt, stressed, or overwhelmed, how have you treated others? Even with the best intentions, you may have found yourself being less patient, more reactive, or even unfair. We've all been there. The difference is that some of us find our way back, while others stay stuck in that pain. And here's where the trap lies. We tend to take their behavior personally. When someone throws a harsh comment your way, your natural instinct is to feel attacked, to defend yourself. But from the lens of Buddhist wisdom, that sharp remark isn't truly about you. It's a reflection of their suffering. You're just the person standing closest when their pain spills over. This shift in perception changes everything. Instead of feeling insulted, you begin to feel compassion. Instead of lashing out in return, you breathe and remain calm. You realize their negativity is a symptom, not a statement about you. And at that moment, something powerful happens. You break free from their emotional grip. This is the first step in neutralizing negativity without uttering a single word. It's not weakness, it's awareness, it's strength. When you stop seeing their behavior as a personal attack and begin to see it as an expression of their inner struggle, you stop giving it power over you. You become grounded, steady, and peaceful. Now that we understand the root of negativity, let's go deeper. How can we protect our inner calm when the storm keeps raging around us? We uncovered a powerful truth. Negativity loses its power the moment we stop taking it personally. Now, let's go one step further and explore how patience becomes your silent shield in moments of emotional turbulence. We've all felt it, that almost irresistible urge to react. When someone criticizes us, our instincts kick in. We get defensive, maybe even sharp with our words. It feels like a natural response, to match their energy, to prove a point, to push back. But in doing so, we've already stepped into their world. We've accepted the invitation to enter the same storm of negativity. And in that moment, we're no longer grounded, we're pulled. It becomes a tug-of-war of emotions. Their suffering drags us into a spiral we never meant to join. And what do we end up with? Frustration, fatigue, regret. But Buddhism offers another way, a quieter, more powerful path. Patience. Not the kind of patience where we clench our fists and bite our tongues, but the kind where we pause, where we breathe, where we stay present. When we choose not to react right away, we give ourselves space to return to ourselves, to our calm center. In that pause, we don't have to prove we're right. We don't have to correct anyone or win the moment. We can simply choose silence. We can choose stillness. And in doing so, we protect our peace. There's a beautiful story in Buddhist tradition that illustrates this perfectly. One day, a man approached the Buddha, overflowing with anger. He insulted him, shouted at him, tried to provoke a reaction. But the Buddha stood still, calm, and said nothing. Later, his disciples asked him why he hadn't defended himself. The Buddha smiled and replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" What a profound reminder. Negativity is like an unwanted gift. If we don't accept it, it stays with the one who brought it. Their words, their emotions, they are theirs. We don't have to carry them. This is the core of Buddhist patience. You don't have to absorb someone else's storm. You don't have to make their chaos your own. You can remain in your own clear sky. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or allowing disrespect. Not at all. Setting boundaries is essential, but those boundaries can be firm and kind. You can walk away from a toxic conversation, not with anger, but with calm dignity. That's the quiet strength true patience gives you. And how do we develop this kind of patience? One of the most practical tools is conscious breathing. The next time you feel someone's negative energy brushing up against you, take a deep, slow breath. Gently remind yourself, this is not mine. Picture their energy like a dark cloud drifting across the sky. You don't have to chase it, catch it, or even comment on it. Just watch it float by. The more you practice this, the stronger your inner calm becomes. And something almost magical happens. People begin to sense that they can't rattle you anymore. Their need to provoke loses momentum. Like a fire that dies down when there's no more wood to burn. Their negativity fades without your reaction to feed it. Patience isn't weakness. It's strength without noise. It's standing firm in your peace, so firm that no storm can shake it. And when you live from that place, negativity, it no longer owns you. But to build this deep steadiness even further, to strengthen the mind that observes without reacting, we need one more tool. In the previous part, we discovered how patience allows us to pause and choose peace, even when negativity tries to pull us in. But to make that pause stronger, more natural, and more enduring, we need one essential practice: meditation. Meditation, a tool for observation and non-reaction. Meditation in Buddhism is more than just sitting quietly. It's a form of inner training, a way to condition the mind to stay clear, steady, and aware, especially in moments of stress or emotional challenge. When we're faced with negative people or situations, our default response is often automatic. Someone criticizes us, and we immediately feel offended. Our body tenses, our heart races, and before we know it, we've snapped back or said something we didn't really mean. These reactions feel instinctive, but they're not unavoidable. They're just habits, and like any habit, they can be unlearned. That's exactly what meditation helps us do. It teaches us to create a small but powerful space between stimulus and response. Instead of reacting immediately, we pause, we breathe, we stay grounded, and in that pause, we gain freedom. The freedom to choose a response instead of being swept away. Buddhist teachings often use the image of a still lake to describe a peaceful, mindful state. When the water is calm, you can see all the way to the bottom. But when wind or rain disturbs the surface, it becomes cloudy and chaotic. Our minds work the same way. When stirred up by emotion, everything becomes unclear. But when we're calm, we gain clarity. And with clarity comes wisdom. So how do we cultivate this stillness? The practice is surprisingly simple. Breath meditation. You sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to the natural rhythm of your breath. No need to control it. Just notice it. Inhale, exhale. As thoughts come and go, and they will, you gently return to the breath. At first, it might feel like nothing is happening, but slowly, over time, something profound begins to shift. You begin to strengthen the part of your mind that simply observes. You become more aware of your emotions without being controlled by them. You may feel anger rising, but you don't have to react. You breathe. You let it pass. It's like sitting beside a busy road. The thoughts and emotions are like cars passing by. Meditation teaches you not to jump into every car. Just watch them go by. And this skill doesn't stay on the cushion, it follows you into daily life. Imagine a co-worker complains for the third time today. Instead of getting irritated, you take a slow, conscious breath. You notice the tension, but you don't feed it. You remember, their mood is not mine. You respond kindly, or maybe you say nothing at all. No drama, no drain, just clarity. Meditation builds a habit of mental spaciousness. It creates a wide, peaceful inner landscape where emotions, noise, and chaos can come and go, but none of it has to disturb your center. Your mind becomes a safe, quiet place, no matter how loud the outside world gets. And the stronger this inner stillness becomes, the less anything external can shake it. But there's one more layer to this practice, one that helps us go even deeper. In the previous part, we learned how meditation strengthens our ability to stay calm, grounded, and unshaken, even in the middle of chaos. But there's another essential element that deepens this peace and transforms not only our experience, but also the way we affect others. Compassion. Compassion. Understanding the pain behind negativity. Many people think meditation is about escaping the world, floating above reality, untouched by life's messiness. But in truth, it's the opposite. Meditation trains us to be fully present, fully awake, not by disconnecting, but by staying engaged without being controlled by every emotion, every reaction, every difficult person. As we meditate consistently, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. We no longer react to every small annoyance. We become more intentional with our energy, more patient in conversation, and more peaceful in presence. This is why meditation is the foundation of non-reaction. It teaches us to observe without judgment, to stay calm without effort, and to choose our response instead of being ruled by impulse. And from this foundation rises compassion. Because once we've learned how to quiet the storm within ourselves, we begin to see the storms in others, and we meet them not with anger, but with understanding. Compassion in Buddhism is one of the most transformative forces we can cultivate, especially when it comes to dealing with negativity. But let's be clear, compassion isn't the same as pity. It's not about tolerating toxic behavior or feeling sorry for someone. True compassion is about seeing the pain behind the behavior. When someone is negative, whether they're complaining, criticizing, or lashing out, our first instinct is often to protect ourselves by pushing them away. We might feel irritated, defensive, or even want to retaliate. But in doing so, we feed the same cycle of pain they're stuck in, and round it goes. Buddhism teaches us a different way, one that doesn't continue the cycle, but gently breaks it. Picture this. You're walking through a quiet village and you spot a dog by the side of the road. It's limping, wounded, clearly in pain. As you approach, it snarls, maybe even tries to bite. Do you get angry? Probably not. You understand. You see that its aggression isn't personal. It's fear. It's pain. Now imagine doing the same with people. When someone speaks harshly to us, what if instead of seeing an enemy, we saw a human being in pain? Maybe they're overwhelmed by stress. Maybe they're battling loneliness or silently carrying a burden they've never shared. Maybe they've been wounded by years of emotional hardship with no tools to heal. What we often call negativity is just the surface. Beneath it, suffering. This is the heart of compassion, recognizing pain even when it wears the mask of anger. And once we see others this way, it becomes much harder to take things personally. Their behavior doesn't define us, and we no longer feel the need to fight back. To strengthen this mindset, Buddhist teachings offer a beautiful practice called metta, or loving kindness meditation. In this practice, we gently repeat silent wishes for others, even those we struggle with. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you find peace. At first, it may feel awkward, even forced, but with time and sincerity, something begins to shift inside us. The tight grip of anger softens. The space in our heart expands, and in that space, healing flows, for us and for them. And now, with patience as your shield and compassion as your lens, there's one more principle that completes this inner transformation. In the last chapter, we explored how compassion allows us to see through the pain of others, helping us respond with empathy instead of anger. But here's the deeper truth. The more we practice compassion, the more we strengthen our own inner resilience. Sometimes it's hard to feel compassion for someone who seems to constantly drain our energy. But over time, as we soften our own hearts, we begin to see more clearly. What arises is not weakness, but a quiet strength, the kind of strength that comes from wisdom, not reaction. It's essential to understand. Compassion does not mean allowing mistreatment. You are not required to accept harmful behavior in the name of kindness. In fact, true compassion includes setting clear, healthy boundaries. And here's the key. You can do it without anger. You can remove yourself from a toxic conversation without bitterness. You can speak your truth with firmness and gentleness at the same time. Because compassion isn't about giving in. It's about acting from clarity instead of emotional reactivity. When we look at others through the lens of compassion, we stop needing to win arguments or prove anyone wrong. We realize that getting entangled in someone's negativity only feeds more pain, for them and for us. Think back to a time when you were hurting, overwhelmed, or deep in stress. What helped you the most? Was it someone criticizing your behavior or telling you to just calm down? Probably not. Most likely, it was someone who simply understood, someone who listened, someone who made you feel safe and seen. That's the power of compassion. It doesn't always need words. Sometimes it's felt in silence. And that's enough to shift the energy of an entire moment. The Dalai Lama once said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." This teaching reminds us that compassion isn't just something we offer to others. It's a gift we give ourselves. It dissolves the walls that negativity tries to build. It creates space for healing, even if that healing only happens within you. So next time someone's negativity feels overwhelming, pause, breathe. Remind yourself gently, they are suffering. It doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it does give you the power to respond wisely instead of reacting emotionally. Sometimes compassion means saying nothing. Sometimes it means walking away without resentment. And sometimes it means offering a kind word, a soft smile, or even just staying calm when it's least expected. The more we develop compassion, the less we absorb the pain of others. We stop carrying their emotional weight on our own shoulders. Instead, we begin to radiate calm. And that calm has a quiet influence that can soften even the hardest hearts. And even if it doesn't, you will have protected your own peace. and that is something no one can take away from you. But how do we stay in this space of peace and compassion in our everyday lives when schedules are full, people are impatient, and distractions are everywhere? Earlier, we saw how compassion helps protect our peace without closing our hearts. Now let's take it a step further by bringing these teachings into our everyday lives through simple, mindful practices that help us stay centered no matter what the world throws our way. Daily practices to maintain inner peace. How you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start by diving into emails, social media, or the rush of responsibilities, you're stepping into a day of reactivity, constantly responding to outside demands instead of living from within. But what if you gave yourself just a few quiet minutes each morning? Imagine this. Before the noise begins, you sit down in stillness. You take a few slow, mindful breaths. You gently remind yourself of how you want to feel today. Calm, steady, patient. You don't just hope for a peaceful day, you set the intention for one. And that single act can create a ripple effect through every moment that follows. Another powerful practice is mindful observation throughout your day. As you move through different situations, especially when dealing with difficult people, pay attention to your internal state. Notice how your body responds. When do your shoulders tighten? When does your breath become shallow? When do you feel irritation rising? Don't judge it. Just notice it. And then breathe. Even one conscious breath can bring you back to yourself, to that calm center you cultivated in the morning. That breath creates a pause, and in that pause, you reclaim your power to choose a wise, grounded response. You can also practice compassion in quiet, invisible ways. If someone around you is complaining or radiating negativity, you don't have to react. You don't even need to speak. Instead, in your heart, silently wish them well. May you find ease. May you be free from suffering. It sounds simple, and it is. But this small mental gesture keeps your heart open while protecting your energy. You offer kindness without absorbing the negativity. Another beautiful practice that strengthens inner peace is gratitude. At the end of the day, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're thankful for. They don't need to be big or dramatic. Maybe it was a peaceful lunch alone, a kind smile from a stranger, or simply that you stayed calm during a moment that once would have shaken you. Gratitude shifts your attention. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, you start appreciating what went right. And the more you focus on the good, the less space negativity has to grow. It's also wise to be mindful of the people you spend your time with. Of course, we can't always avoid negative people, but whenever possible, choose to nurture positive connections. Spend time with those who inspire you, who remind you of your values, your goals, your better self. This isn't about cutting people off harshly. It's about balancing your energy, making sure you're also receiving the kind of presence you offer to others. And don't forget, your environment matters too. Create spaces that support your peace. Maybe it's a quiet corner where you meditate. Maybe it's a calming playlist for your commute. Maybe it's a candle, a quote, a plant on your desk, something that reminds you to return to yourself. These daily practices may seem small, but they work like watering a plant. At first, the change is subtle, but with time, peace grows, quietly, steadily, into a presence you carry with you everywhere. You begin to notice something remarkable. The negativity of others no longer shakes you the way it once did. Instead, you become a source of calm for yourself and often even for those around you. And when you live this way, something even more powerful happens. We've seen how daily mindfulness practices can help us build inner stability and stay grounded in peace. But what happens when we step into the world of relationships, with all their emotions, expectations, and histories? Transforming relationships, from conflict to harmony. Dealing with difficult people is never easy. Sometimes it's a stranger whose energy unexpectedly drains you. Other times, and perhaps more challenging, it's someone close to you, a co-worker, a family member, a partner, someone caught in a loop of criticism, frustration, or anger. But once we've done the inner work, once we've practiced patience, trained in meditation, and developed genuine compassion, we're better prepared for these moments. We're not just reacting anymore. We're choosing how we show up. And that changes everything. One of the biggest mistakes we make in relationships is believing it's our job to fix the other person. We think, if I just explain it the right way, if I argue hard enough, if I show them how wrong they are, they'll finally understand. But how often does that actually work? Usually, it just escalates the situation. When we meet someone's negativity with our own resistance, it turns into a tug of war, a clash of egos. And in that battle, nobody truly wins. But Buddhism offers us a wiser, gentler way forward. Lead by example. You don't have to force anyone to change. Instead, you shift the energy by staying grounded in your own calm. When you walk into a tense moment with steady presence, without reacting, without defending, without attacking, people feel that. Even if they don't consciously understand it, they sense something is different. And when someone throws negativity at you but doesn't get the usual reaction in return, the dynamic starts to shift. The familiar cycle, action, reaction, conflict, breaks down. There's no fuel left for the fire to keep burning. Of course, this isn't always easy. You'll be tested. There will be moments when you want to snap back, prove your point, or retreat in frustration. But if you can stay connected to your center, to your calm, you become a steady force in the relationship. Sometimes that's all it takes to help the other person begin to calm down. Other times, it simply allows you to walk away without resentment, without emotional weight. Another key to transforming relationships is setting clear, kind boundaries. Compassion does not mean tolerating harmful behavior. You can recognize someone's pain without letting them project it onto you. Setting a boundary might sound like, "I'm not willing to continue this conversation right now," or "I don't feel comfortable engaging in this." You don't have to say it with anger or blame, just a clear, respectful statement of what supports your peace. And when you stay consistent, calm, kind, and firm, people begin to notice. Some may soften, others may not, but either way, you're free. Free from needing their approval, free from getting pulled into their drama, free to lead by quiet example, proving that peace is possible, even in challenging relationships. It's also important to celebrate the small wins. Maybe a conversation that once would have turned into a full-blown argument now stays peaceful. Maybe you notice that certain comments no longer trigger you like they used to. These are signs that change is happening, not because you forced it, but because you changed the energy you brought to the table. In the end, it's not about changing other people. It's about showing up differently yourself. And when you do, When your presence is calm, clear, and compassionate, it naturally invites harmony, even where there used to be conflict. So how do you hold on to this peaceful energy in the long run? In the last chapter, we explored how your calm presence can shift the emotional atmosphere of any space. Even in a world full of tension, fear, and frustration, you can choose to be the calm center in the storm. Now, let's bring everything together and explore what it really means to live in balance in an imperfect world. Living in balance in an imperfect world. Negativity is an unavoidable part of life. No matter how much inner work we've done, no matter how patient, mindful, or compassionate we've become, there will always be people around us who are struggling, angry, overwhelmed, or lost in their own pain. We can't control that, but what we can control is the energy we bring into every room, the words we speak, the way we choose to respond. Buddhism never promises a life free of hardship, but it gives us the tools to face life's challenges with grace and to stay in balance even when things around us are far from perfect. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered the roots of negativity, often hidden in unspoken suffering. We've learned how understanding this suffering opens the door to compassion. We've seen how patience gives us space to pause instead of reacting. We've explored meditation as a way to steady the mind, creating clarity and emotional freedom. And we've practiced compassion not as a soft emotion, but as a quiet strength. But these aren't one-time practices. They're ways of living, moment by moment, day by day. Some days, it will feel effortless. You'll move through the world with calm, confidence, and kindness. You'll feel centered, no matter what others say or do. Other days, you'll stumble. You might react. You might forget to breathe, and that's okay. What matters is that you come back again and again to your intention, because every moment gives you a new chance to begin again. Living in balance doesn't mean the world gets quieter. It means you get quieter inside, even when the outside world is loud. You carry peace not because everything is peaceful, but because you've built peace within yourself. And when that peace is strong, it radiates. You won't have to say a word. People will feel it. Your calm becomes a quiet light in the room, not because you try to change others, but because your presence is rooted and true. So remember, this path isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. Breathe. Come back to your center. Let go of what isn't yours. Be gentle with yourself, and know that no matter what the world brings, your peace is always within you. Thank you for walking this path with me toward deeper awareness, strength, and inner calm. If you found these teachings meaningful, I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel Buddhism Seeds, so we can continue exploring together. And if you've experienced moments where you stayed calm in the face of negativity, I'd love to hear about them. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might inspire someone else. Take care of yourself. Take care of your peace. And remember, sometimes the greatest power lies in saying nothing at all. See you in the next video.